The airport buzzed with the chaos only summer travel could bring. Families scrambling, children wailing, and the unmistakable scent of too much perfume and not enough patience. I was 24, exhausted from a back-to-back project deadline and still nursing a migraine from the red-eye flight I'd taken just to make it to the family vacation. The destination? Dubai. My parents' idea of a bonding reset after my sister's graduation, but deep down, I knew this trip had nothing to do with me. "Ava!" my mom barked over the din. "Grab Eliza's bags. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video." I blinked. My suitcase, just one, was already at my feet, zipped and upright. My sister Eliza, the 21-year-old princess of the family, was dragging 2 oversized Louis Vuitton trunks, dramatically sighing as if she were being forced to carry cinder blocks. "Eliza packed 5 pairs of heels," Mom added with a laugh, as if that somehow made it my responsibility. "She's not lugging all that." Eliza didn't even look at me. She just shoved the handle of one trunk into my hand and said, "Be useful, Ava." That snapped something in me. "No," I said flatly. "I'm not your maid." Dad, who'd been chatting with the airline rep, turned slowly, his expression twisted with contempt. "Excuse me?" he said, stepping forward. "I said no," I repeated, this time louder. "I'm not carrying her bags. She's an adult." Eliza rolled her eyes. Here she goes, Miss Independent with her one sad carry-on." Mom stepped between us like I was causing a scene. "Ava, do not start. This trip is for family. Don't ruin it with your attitude." "I flew in from New York on 0 sleep." "I'm not doing this," I said, trying to hold my ground, though my voice trembled. I looked directly at my father. "You wouldn't ask Eliza to carry mine." His jaw clenched. "Because Eliza doesn't make everything about her." Then, in one swift movement, he slapped me. The sound cracked through the air like a gunshot. Everything stopped. Conversations, announcements, footsteps. I staggered back, one hand to my face. My cheek burned, not just from the impact, but from the public humiliation. People were staring. "Oh my God," a woman behind me whispered. The ticketing clerk dropped his pen. A security guard looked up from his desk. Dad stepped closer, towering over me. "Get over yourself. You're not special, Ava." I stood frozen. Then something inside me shifted, something I didn't know I had until that moment. Rage, yes, but also something deeper. Finality. Without a word, I turned away. I left them standing at the economy check-in desk with their stack of overpacked designer bags. I walked to the business class counter. There was no way I could afford first class, but I had some savings. Enough. "I'd like to upgrade," I told the agent, my voice steady despite the tears still gathering in my eyes. "One way." The woman at the counter eyed the red mark on my cheek, then glanced back at the scene unfolding a few feet away, Mom and Dad trying to calm a furious Eliza who was now kicking her own suitcase. The agent didn't ask questions. She just nodded and whispered, "Let me see what I can do." Within 10 minutes, I was holding a boarding pass for business class. A different gate, a different path. I texted my parents one line, "Enjoy Dubai, I'm not going." Then I turned off my phone. I boarded early, curled into my seat, sipped the champagne they offered with a quiet, "Miss Rayner," and watched out the window as the plane began to pull away, leaving the past I thought I owed something to, right there on the ground. And I wasn't going to Dubai. I was going to Paris, alone. The sun hadn't risen over Paris yet when I stepped out of the taxi in front of a small boutique hotel nestled near Rue de Rivoli. The air smelled like quiet, fresh rain and the beginnings of freedom, not the fairy tale kind, the kind you earn when you walk away from people who only ever see you as convenient. The front desk clerk spoke to me softly in French-accented English. I wasn't in Dubai with my family. I was here alone, unannounced, and finally in control of my own hours. That morning I checked into the room, collapsed on the plush bed, and cried like I hadn't in years. Not because I missed them, but because I finally stopped pretending I ever mattered to them the same way my sister did. For the first time in my adult life, no one was yelling at me, mocking me, comparing me, or demanding I prove I wasn't selfish for existing. But of course, silence only lasts so long. By noon, my phone had 42 missed calls. Mom, Dad, Eliza. Even my cousin Maddie had texted, "What the hell happened at the airport? Aunt Lynn is telling everyone you ran away like a drama queen." Drama queen. That was the name they always gave me when I refused to be stepped on. I ignored every message. I wasn't in Paris for them. I had plans of my own. See, what they never knew, what they never cared to ask, was that I'd been interviewing remotely for a new job, a major role in a European fashion agency. I'd been designing in secret for a small label in New York, working nights, submitting sketches under a pen name. And the Paris trip? That was my final interview in person. The meeting was the next morning. I walked in wearing a simple navy dress, my natural curls tied back, and confidence I hadn't known I had. The panel of executives looked through my portfolio. My interviewer, a woman named Brigitte, glanced up and said, "You've been hiding in New York, Miss Rayner. Why?" I smiled. Because back home, I was always told I wasn't good enough. I finally stopped believing them. She nodded slowly. "You're hired." Just like that, Paris became not a detour, but a beginning. But back home? They were still scrambling. I didn't block my family, not yet. I wanted them to see what it looked like when the daughter they dismissed didn't need them anymore. They posted smiling vacation selfies in Dubai for the first 3 days. Then the facade started to crack. Eliza posted a story. "People are so ungrateful. You try to be nice and they spit in your face. LOL, enjoy your freedom." I didn't reply. Dad left a voicemail I'll never forget. "You think walking away makes you better than us? You'll regret this, Ava, one day when the world gets tired of you like we did." But the thing was, the world wasn't tired of me. Paris welcomed me. My new job respected me. And within weeks, I moved into a tiny apartment on the left bank with exposed brick and a tiny balcony. I started walking to work, drinking espresso in the morning, and sketching till late at night. My name was starting to float around industry rooms Ava Rayner, the quiet talent from nowhere. Still, I kept quiet. I didn't post. I didn't gloat. I waited. Because I knew they would. 2 months later, Eliza messaged me. "Hey, weird question. Can you help me get a fashion internship in Paris? My program requires one." I stared at the screen. Then I laughed. Then I got an idea. I didn't reply to Eliza's message right away. Instead, I opened my inbox, the one tied to my new position at Maison de Lune, the boutique fashion house where I'd quickly climbed from junior designer to creative assistant under Brigitte herself. We were planning a collaboration with a design school, a competitive internship that had 3 coveted slots. I smiled when I realized the timing lined up perfectly with the email from Eliza. I replied 3 days later. "Sure, Eliza, we're hosting a few internship slots. You can apply. Just be ready for a real interview. They don't take favorites here." She responded within minutes, bubbling with fake cheer. "OMG, thank you, Ava. You're seriously the best. Let me know what I need to submit." I did. Resume, portfolio, personal letter, and a video interview. What Eliza didn't know was that I'd shared her file with Brigitte. I told her the truth, that this was the same sister who once laughed as I was slapped at an airport, who made me carry her bags like I was staff, and who helped our parents turn my son into a waiter at a family dinner just for their amusement. Brigitte, ever the hawk for character, raised her brows. "She doesn't know you work here." "Not yet," I said. "Let's make sure when she finds out she never forgets." The interview was scheduled over video. Eliza, thinking she'd be speaking to some French HR lady, entered the call with her usual smug grin, long blonde curls ironed into soft waves. She adjusted her camera, gave a sugary hi, and then she saw me. Her face collapsed. I was seated next to Brigitte, with a glass of espresso and the same calm expression I wore when Dad slapped me in front of a gate full of strangers and said, "Maybe next time don't act like such a brat." "Hey, Eliza," I said smoothly. "Welcome to your interview." I thought, you work here?" Brigitte gave a tight smile. We do value humility, Miss Rayner. Please begin by telling us about a time you worked under pressure and didn't throw your teammates under the bus. Eliza's face paled. She stammered through the rest of the questions, voice cracking, confidence unraveling like thread in cheap polyester. After she logged off, I deleted her application. But I wasn't done. The next week, we held a formal design showcase open to the public. I invited everyone, industry heads, clients, press, and my family. Yes, even them. I sent an invitation that read, "From baggage carrier to head designer Ava Rayner's first Paris collection." They came. Mom and her pearls, Dad trying to act important, Eliza sulking but dressed like she still thought she had a shot. The showcase was stunning. Models walked down the minimalist runway in sharp lines, flowing fabrics, and bold statements. Each piece had a name. One dress was titled Luggage, another, The Gate. The final showstopper was called Bloodline. When I walked out to thank the audience, the applause shook the room. I spotted them in the back. No clapping, just shock. I took the mic. I was once told I was too plain, too dramatic, too sensitive, and that I'd never be more than a helper to others' dreams. But this line is for the girls who carry bags for people who beat them down, the daughters who are mocked for saying no, and the mothers who protect their children from growing up like their grandparents. Gasps echoed. Dad stood frozen. Mom's eyes darted. Eliza turned to leave. But I wasn't finished. Before they could disappear, a waiter approached them carrying a tray with small empty white plates, just like the one they let my son trip with, spilling food for their royal table. "These are complimentary," the waiter said, "from the house." He leaned in and added, "She said you'd understand." They did. They left the showcase without saying a word. That night, I returned to my apartment, took off my heels, and tucked my son into bed, his drawing of a plane and a heart taped above his pillow. He whispered, "You're so strong, Mommy." I kissed his forehead and smiled. "We don't carry anyone's bags anymore, baby. We fly." And that night, I finally slept like someone who had nothing left to prove because they already proved it. Publicly, loudly, and without ever raising a hand. Only walking away, and then rising higher than anyone ever thought I could. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video.